brainchild of Yu Suzuki, the man behind many of Sega's greatest arcade games such as Outrun, Afterburner, Power Drift and Space Harrier, to name but a few. Virtua Fighter was the world's first 3D polygon fighting game for the arcades, and I can tell you that back in 1993, seeing this in real life was something very special indeed. It was almost scary in a way, as nothing like this had ever been seen before. These days, Virtua Fighter feels a little sluggish and quite basic, but if it wasn't for this game, there quite possibly would be no Tekken or Dead or Alive series either. After all, Tekken was Namco's answer to Sega's Virtua Fighter. Also, I must point out that the emulation that you're seeing here of the arcade game is not 100% accurate, which is why there's polygon glitches all over the place. In 1994, Virtua Fighter saw its first home port to the Sega Saturn. The Saturn was a much weaker 3D system than the Model 1 arcade board that Virtua Fighter originally appeared on, so it was obvious that the game would not be arcade perfect. What people didn't expect was a glitchy mess of a game. Sega had the development rushed to meet the Japanese Saturn's launch date. Because of this, the Saturn port suffers from many polygon glitches. However, it did get an all-new arranged soundtrack, which was used in every home port from then on.
Fight! 1, ready, go! KO! Fight! 1, ready, go!
A year later, Sega brought Virtua Fighter to their Mega Drive add-on, the 32X, or Super 32X as it was known in Japan. Taking another hit in the graphical department due to much less powerful hardware, this port actually plays really well. Some say it plays better than the Saturn game, however I can't see how. It sure doesn't have the glitches that plagued the original Saturn release. Disappointingly, the audio is rather poor. The 32X could have easily recreated the arcade soundtrack, but instead we get a very nasty sounding and off-key in places effort.
Ready, go! Fight! 1, ready, go! Game over!
By the time Tekken came out on the PlayStation, the Saturn was looking rather sad with its basic port of Virtua Fighter. In answer to this, Sega released Virtua Fighter Remix. This took the core Virtua Fighter game, tweaked it and added texture mapping. Not only that, but all the polygon glitches had been fixed, resulting in a much smoother looking game. In the US, this game was given away free to existing Saturn owners, while in Japan it was bundled in with Saturn hardware. Actually, in Japan there are 3 versions of Virtua Fighter Remix. One was sold in stores, another was given away with consoles, and a third has Verse Online Play.
KO! Fight! 1, ready, go! KO! Game over.
Virtua Fighter Remix was ported to the Windows 95 platform to play on PCs. Back then, PCs were pretty poor when it came to action gaming, with performance not much better than consoles selling for the fraction of the price. It's a different story these days though. Anyway, Virtua Fighter PC is basically a port of the Saturn game. The team battle option is new, but apart from that it's the same game. Unfortunately, it doesn't play too well on modern PCs due to the frame rate fluctuating all the time.
Fight! 1, ready, go! KO! Fight! 1, ready, go! Game over.
Finally, we have Virtua Fighter 10th Anniversary. This was a free game disc given away with Virtua Fighter 4 on the PlayStation 2 in Japan. Basically what we have is Virtua Fighter 4 running in a graphical style of Virtua Fighter 1. This isn't an actual arcade port, which is a real shame. On the plus side, it does play a much better game due to the more modern fighting engine. A nice oddity for sure, but I would have liked a pure arcade perfect port.
Fight 1, ready, go! Out! Sudden death! Ready? Go!
まだ戦えるわ。
And what do all these versions of Virtua Fighter look like running together? Well, let's take a look.